Hey, welcome back to the channel. I was recently able to take Dragon Man to rank 3, and I really wanted to wait till I had what I felt was like a great fight to really show you how awesome this guy is. I finally got it. I've been talking about this video for a while. Okay, here's that fight. Here's that fight that I think just really tells it how awesome this guy is. He's so big and he's so tanky that so many of his fights, I think, the viewer is not going to get a sense of how awesome this guy is. He is an excellent champion. I hope this fight does it for you, because I know that I was just amazed by how well it went. I was very concerned about the rich get richer here. This is Hyperion, who's obviously gaining a significant amount of power as it is with his power gain buff. And then if he has more unique buffs than me, he's going to have that significantly increased by the node. Here's the thing though, Dragon Man's SIG ability is going to be reducing the power gain of Hyperion. Now mine happens to be a low SIG, but you can get up to 70% reduction of the power gain. And then also because Dragon Man triggers his own buffs with this power gain and then the fury that comes off the SP2, I'm always going to have the same amount of buffs as Hyperion, if not more. In 14 hits, we've already gotten to our SP3. I'm just waiting out for him to have no bars of power. And then after you throw your SP3, you go unstoppable. Additionally, anytime you knock an opponent down, you go unblockable. So we're just gonna be able to charge right in here and go at him, you see? And then he has that cornered passive on him that is a large benefit to your damage that you deal when you have them cornered. I think it's 1,058 additional physical damage. You see the incinerates that have been applied from the SP2. We're gonna go in, and I believe this next SP2 is just going to finish him off. It's a 5-star, but it is a rank 5-star. That's tier 1 master level war, a rather difficult fight, and Dragon Man has just destroyed it. Just absolutely destroyed it, and that's not even at a high SIG. Next, moving on, this is the Act 6 Medusa. I really like to test champions on this lane. This has Footloose, so there's a real added complexity to this. I originally thought I was going to be using the slow, which comes off of Dragon Man's SP1. It's a short slow, and I'll be honest, I don't think it's the best part of his kit. We'll look at a fight a little bit later that shows, I think, some limitations on it. As I did this fight a couple times, I realized, let's not even worry about that. We're just going to go to our SP3 and absolutely demolish this Medusa. There's not going to be much she can do about it. We're going unblockable whenever we knock her down, so for the most part, we don't need to worry about her living strands. I'm going to wait out the Footloose portion of the node, throw our SP3, and then remember, after you throw the SP3, you go unstoppable and unblockable. Additionally, there's an extra safeguard from this, because I know what you're thinking. What if she throws her special? Well, while active, the unstoppable from the SP3 instantly regenerates 85% of each damage received from the defender, except for an SP3, so don't push him to the SP3. But then when you add the healing mastery, I can't think of what it's called, recovery, you will heal all the damage up. So you can completely just rush in and attack freely. I think we're gonna do it again here. The one key thing to remember, and I did mess up a fight this way, and I wanna make sure everyone hears this, is that unstoppable only comes after the SP3. Doesn't come after every special, not the SP2 or the SP1. I know that sounds quite simple and direct, but I messed that up myself in a war fight. So as you can see, we're at 96% health. She's at 36. We've only landed 24 hits. I think we're gonna end up, okay, we did end up throwing our special 2 here. I think I was just trying to hurry up the fight a little bit, so that wasn't probably a smart idea. But you're still getting a sense of how quickly he can take out a pretty complex fight with the Footloose, Medusa with her auto block, and a relatively beefy opponent in an Act 6 fight. Next, we're moving on to a fight in Act 7. This is that lane where you need to be unstoppable, and then it gets enhanced, I think, for Mystic attackers if they knock the champion down when they already are unstoppable. So you can see we're unstoppable here. We've knocked him down. We've got a nice fury buff. So that is upping our damage quite a bit. I don't want to mislead anyone in that. but he goes unstoppable so frequently, as we talked about, because of the SP3s. Additionally, the length of that unstoppable is increased by the amount of power gains you had. So if you cycle those in for 2 SP3s, you're going to significantly increase how long you are unstoppable. This is also a nice demonstration of that cornered passive and how much that does increase your damage. We're going to throw the SP2, which will apply the incinerates. And then when you land your heavy, you detonate the incinerates. Ideally, I think you want to have at least 2 of those applied. Yeah, because 2 of those SP2s, because when you have 6 or more incinerates, the damage is increased by 50%. I think we're going to set up, if I remember correctly, I'm going to set up one last big heavy here. We have 6 incinerates on, and you see how much damage that was done. I think the other important thing to keep in mind when we're talking about the damage with this Dragon Man is that's just a nice part of his kit. I don't think he's in the upper echelon of damage dealers, but he can deal some nice damage on top of being dual immune, having incredible power gain, being a robot, extra large, and the ability to apply slow, and then of course his ineptitude that we'll talk about a little bit as we get into it. Now, this is a fight in AQ. It is against another Hyperion. Hyperion just is a very good matchup for him, and I like showing it because Hyperion can be a tough defender with that power gain as it is. And in this one, I really want to show, I think, some limitations to Dragon Man and his slow. It's not a phenomenal slow. I think it has its uses, but here's a couple of problems with it. Is it only lasts for 8 seconds, so it's not a terribly long one to begin with. When you consider how his power gain works, though, I think applying it over and over is really not a big deal. Ideally for me, if I was going to be focusing on applying the slow, I would remove suicides though. I would remove suicides and probably try to cycle between the SP2 and the SP1. And then here's the other shortcoming, and it all depends on what you're trying to do. His specials take a very, very long time, which I think makes him an excellent counter to nodes like Encroaching Stun, especially because you can go unblockable just from knocking the champion down. The negative to it, though, and you're going to see it here, is watch how long it takes for the slow to actually apply. Here we go. So we've got it applied now because it was early in the Brawl timer. Brawl is what's making Hyperion and myself go unstoppable. Now you're going to notice, I'm going to look to try to reapply it here. I'm just way too late. It applies at the end of the special. Hyperion has had plenty of time to go unstoppable again. I'm going to test this 3 times. I'm a slow learner. No, I just really wanted to be thorough in the testing here. You see it a second time, it just doesn't apply. It doesn't apply because he's unstoppable. We're not landing the end of the special. Here we go. I think we finally get this one in, and you just see, again, I don't want to make that sound like that makes it doesn't make Dragon Man a bad champion. What it means is that there is a drawback to his very long specials. I want people to be aware of that. There also is a massive benefit, though, to those very long specials. This feels to me very similar to Apocalypse, where it's just something to be aware of as you play this champion and you go into fights with him. And then last, because I think there is so much in this guy's kit, and I wanted to show you that he can do good damage. I think you've got a sense of that already. But this guy can do great damage, and I wanted to take him in against the Act 6 Mr. Sinister. Now, he is poison immune, so that's a big benefit. We are going to have to be bringing in the Heimdall synergies, so that way we can get the Fury buff in order to do the damage for this lane. But I wanted you to see that he can get this fight done, and it's actually not that bad at all, especially with our massive power gains. The one thing, and I'm going to talk about Dragon Man in general during this fight, because I think this fight will go for about 3 or 4 minutes here. But the one thing I want to point out, in case you do choose to do this fight yourself, is that I'm primarily trying to work Mr. Sinister all the way to his SP2, just this way I can get more damage in, or in case I did decide to throw my SP2, which would apply the Incinerate, I didn't want Mr. Sinister to put that back on me with his SP1, because Dragon Man, while he's immune to poison and bleed, is not Incinerate immune. So keep that in mind. And then the other thing is you will see me intentionally push him to his SP2, which will apply the concussion. You'll see this here in just a minute. We're going to push him to his SP2. It'll apply his concussion. And then you will see that I will wait that out before I throw the SP3. I did this fight a couple times before, and I was finding that the concussion was actually making it so the power gains weren't triggering, which obviously is a real problem if you're looking to take this fight. So as you can see though, we're only 18 hits in. Mr. Sinister is already down to 84% health. So clearly Dragon Man has the ability to do a big damage fight like this. He's not relying on the crits. And then when we are able to get the cornered passive going, it's going to up our damage a lot. I believe I'm going to end this fight with some nice heavies or some SP2s where you're really going to get a sense of the damage that he can do. You also saw there, and I think this is important too, that because you're unstoppable after that SP3, if the opponent does go to throw their special or things like that, you have plenty of time to go ahead and block a lot of that animation. You will heal it back up, but you have plenty of time to block too. I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. I don't place him in my top tier of my rankings. So I have, if you've seen my rankings, you know what that's like. I have my top shelf, which is the upper echelon of champions, and mystics and that are Doctor Doom, Magic, and Clairvoyant. I've placed Dragon Man right in that second tier, just directly behind Sorcerer, who I kind of tempted to put in that top tier. I've placed Dragon Man right next to her, right below her. That's how good I think this guy is. In fact, I took him to rank 3 before I took my Clairvoyant and before I took my Sorcerer Supreme. I do think that those are maybe better champions in general, but the more this game moves away from these really tiny niches and more to just general fun and having a lot of champions and can do a lot of things, the more I think a guy like this works so well into an account, even an account like mine. I didn't have a lot of dual immunes. No one has a Mystic Robot. He's extra large. He gains buffs. He can go unblockable. He can go unstoppable. He gains a Fury buff, which you can stack if you need to. He can place a slow and the ineptitude, which is off the SP1. Just so we can talk about that a little bit. The ineptitude reduces the potency of new Fury, armor up, precision, and cruelty buffs. I haven't found a tremendous use for that just yet, but I have a feeling as fights continue to progress and the game continues to progress, we will see and find uses for that. Then with his SIG ability, like I said, when you get that really high, you can get to the point where against Cosmics, it's doubled. You can get to the point where you're reducing their power gains by 70%. That's a significant amount. And if you've made it this far, you already saw what it does to a champion like Hyperion, even at a low SIG. Mine's only SIG 40. He's awesome. There's some limitations. I don't want to make him sound like the best champion in the game. I don't think he is, but he can fill a lot of holes in your roster. And if you get him, I think rank him up, feel great about it, and know what you're getting. You're going to see him close this fight out, and you see the increase in the damage. All those red numbers, none of them on their own are massive, but there's a lot of them, and they're big. They're big as you add them up. We've got him cornered now. I think we're going to go in for those SP2s. Yeah, I was looking just to get this fight done and over. I figured this would push him to his SP2 if it needed to. We're going to land a second one here, I think, and just finish off this fight. That was about 20% of this Mr. Sinister's health down in a very, very few amount of hits. I like this guy. I hope you can get him. He's one of those fun champions that I really hope everyone in the game gets a chance to get. He's good. He's great. Be happy to hear what you think, your questions, your comments. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on Twitter at Vega Gaming 583. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.